Welcome to the West Ham Voice, and thank you for joining me. As you know, my name is Stel, and we were really hoping to get a special guest on tonight, but no fear, we've got an even better guest and someone that you've met already in the previous show. We're going to talk about the Silkeborg game that's coming up, and a little bit about Silkeborg and their history, and a little bit about their team, etc., and to see where Silkeborg are looking to finish this year. In terms of the Europa Conference League, and in terms of their own league as well. And so the guest that I've got on knows a hell of a lot more about Danish teams than I ever will, which is a real honour to have him back again. Good evening, Flemming. How are you?
Good evening. Very good. You too?
I'm very well. It's good to have you back. And thank you for trying to get that very special guest. Unfortunately, I don't think we're allowed to say who it was, but it was someone that is quite high profile in Silkeborg. Is that correct?
Yes, it's one of the Silkeborg players. Actually, I know him.
There you go. You gave the game away.
But it wasn't. He wasn't allowed from Silkeborg to participate in the program, unfortunately.
Well, maybe in the second leg, in the return tie, seeing how things are, maybe his media team might be a little bit more accommodating. But it's great to have you on, though. So thank you for joining. We're going to go through. So how do you pronounce it? Silkeborg, not Silkeborg.
Silkeborg. Yes.
Okay. We're going to talk a little bit about them. I mean, you know more about them than I do. You know, I've got a bit of a background. Founded in 1917. I was a bit confused about their capacity at the stadium, Flemming, because I read they got a capacity of 10,000. And then there was something in brackets saying, if all seated, 6,000.
Yes.
So is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. 6,000 seated and 4,000 standing.
Oh, 6,000 seated for. Oh, so it's a total of 10,000.
Yeah,
sorry,
total of 10,000.
I misunderstood.
Yeah.
And last season they finished. They did quite well last season. They finished third in their league.
Yes.
Which was quite a good achievement for them. Is that correct?
Fantastic. They were just got up in the Super League again. It's a little bit like Viborg, actually, an elevator team who has gone up and down for some years, and then they got promoted, and then they went straight on to win the bronze medal. A big surprise, but they played some, in Danish terms, fantastic football, and it was a big surprise for everybody, but it was very deserved.
And if you compare them to Viborg, I know they're quite close to each other in terms of league position at the moment.
Yes.
And I looked at, Silkeborg's previous achievements. They won the Superliga back in '94. They've been champions of the first division a few times. They won the cup winners and Intertoto, etc. But if you compare them to Viborg, who would you say at this moment in time is the better of the two teams?
Just right now, I would say Viborg is a little bit better than Silkeborg, but they are very equal. 3 months ago, I would probably have said Silkeborg, but and also if you go half year, 1 year back, Silkeborg a little bit better than Viborg, but Silkeborg is a developing club. They have like West Ham, many youth players. They're trying to get better, and they have had a lot of success with that the recent years. So they have sold a lot of players. They are a selling club, and they have sold really good players recent years. One of them, Frederik Alves to West Ham. They also sold the Danish national player Kasper Dolberg to Nice. Actually, just gone to Seville from Nice this week. And Robert Skov from Silkeborg to Hoffenheim. So they have sold really good players in recent years, and that's why they have been very successful also in terms of the economy. They are a really solid club at this point.
So they do sound very much like it. It sounds very similar to Viborg. I remember when we had Martin
Yes,
on and he was talking
yes,
about the
yes,
youth development system, and he was
yes,
quite honest. He said some players, they
yes,
will sell in order
yes,
to keep the economy of the club going, and
yes,
it's been quite successful for them. And there's quite a lot of Danish players that come through, especially playing in English clubs, and
yes,
they've been quite successful over the years, haven't they?
yes. But Silkeborg is better than Viborg when we talk academy. Silkeborg
Right.
is actually now they are in the under 19 in the under 19 league. They are third or fourth in Denmark, which has not been normal for them. And also under 17, they are also on the way. So I think in recent years, the last 2, 3, 4 years, they have gone from maybe number 8, 10 in that area of their academy to actually top 3 in Denmark now.
Wow, that's quite an achievement in quite
Yes,
a short time as well,
yes,
which is really good.
yes.
So
And they have just
let's.
they have just sold. Let me tell you, they in
Mhm,
this transfer window just 2 weeks ago, they
mhm,
sold Nikolai Velius to Brøndby for I think 3 million euros.
mhm.
A really high stake between two Danish clubs. And Nikolai Wallis, he was the really the top player in Silkeborg. And with him on the team, I would rate Silkeborg over Viborg, but without him, I rate Viborg a little bit higher than Silkeborg.
Right, that's interesting because it's interesting you mentioned that name because when I was doing the research on the club, I
Mm.
noticed his name and I was looking frantically for information
Yeah, yeah,
and then I realized, as you said, that they sold him.
yes,
So tell me about their manager. I
mm,
mean, with a manager like Kent Nielsen,
yes,
apparently his nationality is English, but he was born in Denmark, and I don't understand that. I think maybe because he played in. I don't know if he had a dual nationality or something, but sounds a little bit strange. Maybe someone is pulling my leg when they
yeah.
say
The
that.
nationality is Danish, definitely, because
That's what I thought.
he's totally Danish. But he has played for Aston Villa. He
He
has
has,
played,
yes.
yeah, he has played in the English league, and he was in the squad when Denmark were European champions in '92.
Uh huh.
He was in front of Schmeichel in the middle defender
Yeah, all
as a middle
right.
defender. So
And
he was a good player himself, and now I think he's even a better manager. He's a really, really good manager. He has worked up his way through the system, and he now has a really high position between the Danish managers. I think he's one of the best in class.
yeah, that's interesting because I've
Mm.
read he played for Bromby, he's coached
Yes,
Bromby, which is
yes,
one of the top clubs, as you
mm,
said. He's played at Aston Villa, and I was reading about his credentials, and it really is quite impressive, and it's like one of these managers that you kind of wonder why is he never been attracted or come to England to manage because it
yes,
sounds like
maybe. Yeah,
he would do
maybe
quite
it's
well.
difficult for a Danish manager to come to England anyway, but he could go to other clubs outside Denmark. I see
Uh-huh.
a big potential, but I don't know if he want to even. But I think his strength is he's very, very good for young players. So
Hmm.
he is not afraid of bringing 17, 18, 19 years old players into the squad, and he is giving them some time and some space to develop and take the results it gives in some periods. But he's a very clever manager, and I think Silkeborg has, during the last 1, 2 years, played some of the most attractive football in Denmark. They have played very, very well, I would say.
And talking of the team selections, because when I was looking at the teams that he's been
Mm,
picking, you're
mm.
absolutely right. There's quite a lot of young players. He's got a good mix
Yes,
of senior players and youth
yes,
players.
yes,
And this is the lineup that he put out against Anderlecht
yes.
in the Europa Conference last
Yeah,
week. And you've got a good veteran at the back. You've got Larson, who's in goal. I think
yes.
31 years of age, something like that.
Yes, that's a former my club, former Aalborg goalkeeper, and
Uh-huh.
a very good goalkeeper. Give them very stable this season and don't make many mistakes. And I like him as a goalkeeper. He's good, I think.
And then sort of the spine of the team is quite experienced. Then you've got Brink in the middle.
Yes.
Mark Brink, who's like the
Yes.
defensive holding midfielder.
Mhm.
But he's
Mhm.
quite young, but yet
Yes.
he's got quite a lot of experience in the club.
Yes. Yes. But that's
And
typical Kent Nielsen again. He's bringing in very young players actually. When he can, he take them.
mhm. And then up front, they've got another very experienced player, and I know you mentioned it to me
Mhm.
before we came online earlier on
Yes.
today.
Yes.
Nicholas Elenius. Now,
Yes.
a very prolific goal scorer. That's almost one goal in every 2 games that he's scored.
Yes, he scored
Um,
last season in the Super League. He scored 17 goals, and this season he scored 4 goals in 9 matches.
uh-huh,
Although
uh-huh.
I think he's a little bit out of form at this point. He started very well this season, but the last I think 3-4 games he has been a little bit down. So
Right.
I hope we can we can manage to keep him away tomorrow too.
Well, there's someone else that I asked you about earlier on,
Mhm.
because for me, it looks like his stats already this season look quite good. And you've mentioned to me that he's only just recently joined
Yes,
the club, but you
yes,
mentioned that he's quite similar to
yes.
Hellenius. And could he be the future replacement of Hellenius?
Yeah, I said he was similar in the way they are both typical number 9, but they are not the same type of player actually, because Helenius is tall and he's strong, really strong hitter, Helenius, and Tony Adamson is more fast and a smaller player than Helenius. So they are not the same type, but they are both number 9. So it's more like how do Silkeborg wants to play. If they think they can attack and have the ball a lot, be a lot in possession, they will play with Helenius. And if they play a little bit more on a counter attack, they typically will play Tony Adamson more. And
Right.
has been typical for them in the last 3 or 4 games after Tony arrived in the club, that if they are in front and with 15-20 minutes back, they put him on to be dangerous in the counter attacks.
And
So
he's done quite well because he's
yes,
scored
yes,
3 goals
yes, he
already.
has a
Yeah.
big quality in scoring goals. Also in the first division in Denmark, he has scored a lot of goals. He's
Hmm,
a good
hmm.
player.
And there's another player that I think West Ham need to be a bit aware of, and this is Anders
Yes,
Kling,
yes, Klynge,
Klinger.
Klynge,
I'm so sorry.
Klynge.
Who is quite good at? He's a creative midfielder, and
Yes,
he provides goals. He's got 3 assists already this season
yes,
with 1 goal as well. Is he
yes.
someone else that we need to be quite wary of?
He has done surprisingly well, and also he's very young, 21 years. But actually, I don't know if Kasper Kusk will start tomorrow, but I see Kasper Kusk more as a threat to us than Anders Klynge tomorrow. Kasper Kusk is also a former Aalborg player, just sold to Silkeborg this transfer window. And Kasper Kusk is a really fast player, and he can do a lot with the ball and on his own. And in Aalborg, he was gone a little bit tired, and the match with the coach wasn't very good, I think. But now he's back to with Kent Nielsen in Silkeborg, where together with Kent Nielsen, he won the Danish championship in 2014, and they have always had a really good relationship, and that has got something with Kasper Kusk the last week or two already. So he played very well in Anderlecht, and he played very well in the weekend. So I think Kasper Kusk might be maybe the biggest threat of all of them tomorrow.
Oh, that's really
Yes,
interesting because
he's really fast.
it's interesting you say that because I imagine Klinger to be a starter,
Yeah,
and
maybe.
a competition for Kusk. I
Yes,
thought maybe Mads Kalund.
Poland. Yes, yes,
Kulund.
yes. Yes, I'm not sure about, because as I told you earlier, I'm not sure about the game tomorrow, because um, Kent Nielsen is also aware that in the Danish Super League right now, Silkeborg are in the best part of the league, and all the normal top clubs in Denmark have a lot of problems. Brøndby, FC Copenhagen, FC Midtjylland, all of them are in the lower half of the table. So Silkeborg is really going hard for the Super League at this moment. So they also have a really important game in the weekend. So I'm not sure how important he sees this match tomorrow, because obviously he also know that their chance against West Ham is maybe 10% when all comes to all.
That's really interesting. So he's seeing a great opportunity at the moment to really go for the Superliga,
yes,
and maybe not playing his top players in this game.
Maybe not all of them, but I think when it comes to all, they have maybe 20 players, and I think he sees them quite similar in strength. So it won't be a very big thing if it's one of the other, one or another that will start. So.
And then we move to another attacking player, and this is the young man that if we could have got him, he would have been speaking to us tonight. Soren Tengsted.
Yes, Soren Tengsted. Yes,
I got that one right.
Yes.
And another player, 22 years of age. He's now. This was why when we spoke over the last day or so, I was a bit confused as to who he might start up front alongside Helenius, because. Tengsted started the game against Anderlecht last week, and Jorgensen is the one that started in the league. So it makes an awful lot of sense, because when I look at the two players, Jorgensen has had a bit more of a successful season so far.
Yes.
But when you talk about the league, it looks like this is why he played in the league rather than the Europa.
Yes, I think so. And also Kent Nielsen is also the type of manager, a little bit like David Moyes, who wants to have all players in play. He doesn't want the same players to sit on the bench both in Denmark and in Europe. So he makes it maybe like most other players, coaches. But I think Sebastian Jørgensen is one of the best players that Silkeborg that they have, and he's a little bit stronger than Søren Tengsted, I think. But Søren Tengsted is also a big talent and is one of the players that can develop under Kent Nielsen, I think.
Yes. And the only other position that I think is probably up for grabs is at the centre back.
Yes.
Now, my understanding is it's Felix who gave the penalty away last week. Is that correct?
Yes.
Against Anderlecht. It was really unfortunate. I watched the highlights, and it was so unfortunate the way that
a tough penalty to take, a really tough penalty for them, and it has been tough for them the last couple of weeks, because they also played for the Europa League. They were in the Europa League qualification before the Conference League, and then they played Helsinki from Finland, and they lost on aggregate 1-0 over two games, where they felt they should have scored in both of them. And now in Anderlecht, which is a big club in Belgium, Silkeborg were clearly the better team in the first half.
That's interesting.
Actually, they really deserved at least a 1-0, maybe a 2-0 lead at halftime, but they came under pressure in the second half and were unlucky 10 minutes before the end with the penalties. Yeah.
Because in the league, Kent Nielsen has opted for a more experienced centre back, which is Andre Kalisia, who's an Armenian international.
Yes.
But again, it seems to make a lot more sense than what you're saying. So he's clearly seeing as Felix is not a bad central defender by the looks of it. He's not an awful. He's quite a good defender.
Good. Good. He's good.
So of these two, do you think he will stick with Felix despite that unfortunate occasion?
I think Felix will start tomorrow, but I'm not 100%, but I think he will. Yes.
So therefore, it leads us to our team. This is what I had those two question marks. I had the question mark of Kalund and Kusk and Felix and Kalisia, but you've now confirmed that you think it should be Kusk and Felix. But the rest of the team, maybe the other one that you've also mentioned is Tengsted rather than Jorgensen playing on the other side.
Yes.
But the rest of the team kind of picks itself, more or less.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. It looks like to me it's
So
going
it's
to
going
be.
to be. I mean, I've seen the way uh, Nielsen sets his team up, and he primarily plays a 4-3-3 formation.
Mm,
But is that a more because you can interpret a 4-3-3 in two
mm,
different ways.
mm,
You can interpret it as a defensive
mm,
4-3-3 where you got
mm.
three players sitting in midfield
Yes,
and then allowing the front three to just run riot, or you
yes.
can interpret it where the three midfielders are helping the front men. Which process does Nielsen normally take? Is it a more defensive-minded 4-3-3?
No,
Oh,
definitely
it
not.
isn't.
No,
Okay.
they play football. They play really good football. They are positioning uh, in possession football. They have been one of the best teams in Denmark for the last 1 or 2 years. But again, they have sold some of the best players, which have cost a little bit, I think. So, but he's not compromising on how he want to play and his style. So, I think also tomorrow they won't sit back and wait for West Ham. They'll play it, really go up and give us a fight. Like
So that's quite it.
actually, like
It's
Viborg also did. I think Viborg also played
yeah.
some good football both in London and in Viborg. So I think the game tomorrow is very similar to the two Viborg games. But
Uh-huh.
one thing I would mention, which we have to be maybe our biggest enemy tomorrow, because the game is on artificial turf.
Yes, I was
Yes,
going to bring that up. Yes,
yes.
uh-huh. And it
So
makes the game very fast.
yes, and
Yeah.
difficult because how the ball will bounce and for the goalkeeper and it's a little bit of a special artificial turf too actually. So maybe even if West Ham players have been training on an artificial turf, it can be totally different from this one. So it's going to be new, but of course. West Ham have had the possibility to train on the ground today, I think. So
Yeah, I think they only left for Denmark today, so
yes,
maybe they arrived in the afternoon, etc.
yes, tonight.
Because
I think tonight they'll train on the ground.
because I mean, I tried to read up about it, and there's quite a lot made of it. The MX Ultimate Plastic Pitch, it's
Yes,
called,
yes,
and it says about how it makes the game a lot faster. But
yes.
people are suggesting that we played on an artificial turf at Viborg. Is that not correct?
No, we
That
didn't.
was just a normal
Yes,
pitch, yeah.
yes,
So it could actually have quite an impact on the way we play
yes.
because, mind you, it could have a positive impact because many people are saying that we're not playing fast enough at the moment. So maybe,
Silkeborg is playing fast, but anyway, a Premier League team like us will play faster anytime than
Mhm.
Silkeborg will. So I don't see a big problem, but it's new for us and exciting how we'll manage it.
Well, it's interesting because we've had many years ago QPR, for example,
Yes,
used to have an artificial turf, and everybody used to hate it. They
yes,
said it wasn't. But then I guess artificial turfs, when was that? In the 90s, is probably a lot different to what they are now.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So
There is
let's move
two
on
teams. There
to
are two teams in Denmark with artificial turf, and they have the plastic firm, not the old firm, but the plastic firm when they meet each other. So,
Let's move on to West Ham because we know we've got a few injuries still. And it's good news that we've heard that Naif Gerd is back in training, but he's back in training in the gym,
mm,
so which is good. But it's still going to be a while before he actually starts training with the football, etc. So he's not going to be available. And the only other player that we're aware of that is not going to be available tomorrow is Ben Johnson. We saw some footage of the team training, and Johnson and obviously Agerd were missing. There is another player, Harrison Ashby, who's gone missing as well, and we're told that he won't be made available for the game. But going through the team, we know that Areola is the cup keeper.
mm.
What's your thoughts on this? And I can't remember if I asked you when we last met who you think should be the number one keeper for West Ham United.
At this point, Fabianski, I'm not. I'm sure about that, but I can see the talent in Areola, and I think talent. It's an old talent when you're 29, but I think he's a good keeper and he's a good second keeper. But of course, if Fabianski gets a down period with some mistakes and something, then Areola is not far away from Fabianski. But I think
So
Fabianski
you
is
are in the camp that thinks Fabianski should
yes,
stay number one, yeah?
yes. I am.
Interesting. I don't agree, but
Okay.
and then at right back, because we don't have Ashby or Johnson, it looks
Mhm.
like Soufal is likely
Yeah.
to start. That's quite an obvious.
Yeah.
And then in midfield, there's talk about potentially Craig Dawson
Mhm.
coming back. Now, we think it's probably going to be a little bit early. And forgive me for my spelling mistakes. I will always put spelling errors in my in my slides. Do you think that? I mean, we saw today in the press conference that Thilo Kehrer was alongside David Moyes.
Mhm.
So we kind of think that Dawson will be brought on as a sub. But what do you make of this young man, the signing from PSG? I mean, he's been quite a revelation for us, hasn't he?
Yeah, unfortunately, he made the penalty on his first appearance, but
Well, he did.
after that, I think he has been terrific. Really, really good and really fast and clever and yeah, surprisingly good. Really good.
Yeah, for the money that we paid for him, 10
Yeah,
million
yeah, yeah,
pounds. Yeah.
yeah.
So I've got a feeling, unless so Soufal and Kera
Yeah,
as part of the back line,
yeah.
and then Angelo will be continuing his return to fitness. Do you think tomorrow?
Yes, I think so. I think we will be very similar to the game against FCSB last week. I think we won't make maybe no changes, maybe one or two changes, but
Well,
very
I
similar. I think.
I agree with you. I think maybe in defence, and we'll go through the rest of the defence. I think
Mhm.
Palmieri, Emerson will start as
Yes,
well.
yes,
The only thing I'm worried about Emerson is the first goal against, well, the only goal that FCSB scored against us, and I think he was ball watching a little bit. I mean, it's great
yeah,
going forward. I don't know what you think
yeah.
of
Agree,
that goal.
agree, agree. But FCSB were surprisingly good. I think they played
Yeah.
really well in the first half, and we were actually a little bit lucky to get in the game with that penalty.
With the
We,
penalty,
yeah,
I
yeah,
totally agree with you,
yeah,
and it would have been interesting to see if we hadn't if
yeah,
we had not got that penalty,
yeah,
they might have tried to hold out for
yeah,
a win or even or maybe a draw.
yeah,
And then in the middle, Declan, I think, is going to lead us out.
yeah.
I think he will start definitely, and then
Yes,
seeing how the game goes.
yes,
And then this young man alongside him. What do
yeah,
you make of Flynn Downs? You saw the game last
yeah.
week against FCSB. What did you make of his
I think he played like
play?
he has played 100 games alongside Declan. I think he played very, very well, and passing was fantastic. I was really surprised how good he actually were. I think he was maybe our best player in that
On
game.
that game,
Yeah,
definitely. A lot
yeah,
of fans are saying the same thing, that
mhm,
the way he controlled the game, the way he got stuck in,
yes,
because you look at him and he's quite a small lad.
yeah,
He's tall, but he's quite
yeah,
thin.
yeah,
But he certainly gets stuck in, and
yeah,
I think a lot of
yeah,
people were happy to see him play. A lot of people are suggesting that he should start playing in Premier League games.
yeah,
We know what David Moyes is like, you
yeah.
know. Maybe a little bit too soon to ask of him to start playing in Premier League games.
Difficult to say if he is playing like he did Thursday. I think FCSB played like an okay Premier League team against us actually. So if that's his level in every game, I think he's good enough for the Premier League already now. And I
Mhm.
think that it's first of all it's 100% good that he's there now to make some pressure on Thomas Suchek, because Suchek, we all know, he has had a long bad period actually,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
has rised maybe a little bit the last couple of weeks, maybe because he feels also a little bit more pressure from Flynn Downs now, or
This is what competition in the squad
yeah,
does, doesn't it?
actually,
It
yeah, that's
raises
the
other people's
competition that,
games.
yeah, really the competition we need right now in especially around Suchek, I think.
Mhm. And then moving forward, I mean, do you think there's a chance that Coventry might start alongside either Declan or Downs, or do you think it will? This is the sort of player that might come on maybe
Yeah,
later in the game.
I see him more also like Dawson as a sub tomorrow, because
Yeah.
still, I think Moyes is so conservative that he wants to play not his aces tomorrow, but his B side, if you can say that. So I think also Moyes wants to get this Conference League done as fast as he
As
can.
fast as possible.
Yeah, 4
Yeah.
games, 12 points. We can take the last 2 and maybe put in some subs and some young players and so on. So I think we're going relatively hard for the 3 points tomorrow. So I don't see Conor going to start. I don't see that.
Agreed. And this is where it becomes tricky, because we know we almost certain that Scamacca will lead the line tomorrow. I think that's probably a given. He didn't play very well in the game against FCSB last week, but he just came back from illness. And I suggested in the review that maybe we brought him back a little bit too soon. He didn't look right.
No.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, the most disappointing for me was the chance he got where we had a very good possibility to score, where he had a very bad shot, like 7-8 meters away from goal. So but he hasn't. He didn't have a good game. I think in Viborg he did quite okay, and I'm sure he'll start tomorrow.
And there's a suggestion, Flemming. I mean, I don't know how much of these rumors are true sometimes, and you hear things and you think, well, where's that come from? There's a suggestion that some fans are beginning to get frustrated with him. Can you believe that? Can you believe that this is?
That's very early.
It's far too early.
Yeah, but I think he's a good player, and I think also technically he's better than we have seen this far. So. Give him some time. I think every player that comes to Premier League needs more than a little month to get on the best. Yeah.
So now this is where it gets interesting, because we've kind of talked about the goalie, the defenders, midfielders, etc., and the striker, and then in the middle, you know, the attacking midfield. This is where a lot of speculation is happening. Some people think that Paquetá will start. And I don't know if I get what you're saying. He David Moyes wants to wrap this up as quickly as he possibly can, but he will also have one eye and one thought on the weekend game against Everton. Do you think that this is a game for Paquetá to start, or do you think maybe this is something that he can come on as a substitute and be an impact substitute, like he was last week against FCSB?
That's my first thought, that he will be a sub again tomorrow, and he can come in the second half, especially if we have problems. But it could be also a little bit about his form. I don't know how good his form is right now. So if Moyes thinks he needs some more form, he needs to play to get on his best, that could be the view that he'll start tomorrow. But my first thought is he'll be on the bench again.
Yeah, I think so, because I don't want to do Silkeborg a disservice, but I think putting on all the big guns could be a risk as well, because artificial turf, you know, if someone turns their ankle or something, that's quite a big deal. So I agree with you. I think he will probably be an impact sub. And then Cornet. I mean, we were worried about Cornet and his injury last week. Now I got it confirmed that it wasn't a head injury, which means that he's eligible to play. He didn't really do very well either against FCSB.
No, but I think he'll come. I think he'll start again tomorrow, and I think he has a lot of potential. So it's a little bit the Scamacca again. You need some time to get into the squad and know this style and type of play, and find your feet. And I think he'll be a good player for us. I think so.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And then another player who just didn't shine last week against FCSB, Manuel Lanzini.
Yes.
Were you surprised at his performance? I mean, he probably was the worst player on the pitch last week, I think.
Yeah. Actually, I don't understand. Last season, I think there was a long period where he did very well, and I actually like the guy, and I think he has a lot of potential still, and he is a very good player. I think maybe we do have a little bit of a problem finding his best position in the team, to find out how defensively should he be,
Yeah,
how offensively should he be,
yeah,
because he can do both. But I think this season so far, of course, has been disappointing for him, because he's on the bench on every Premier League game, and when he started in the Conference League, he had a bad game. So
yeah. I agree,
yeah,
and I put that on the slide as well. You know, should he be playing a deeper role rather than a more, because we got him as a number
yeah, yeah,
10.
yeah,
We got him as a player just behind the front man,
yeah.
etc. But you're
Mhm.
absolutely right. You know, his
Mhm.
better play over the past season or so, after
Mhm.
he came back from injury, was to play a deeper role. You know,
Yes,
like a bit of a playmaker, and he seemed to
yes,
relish that. And
yes,
now there's a lot of competition in the middle of the park. You
yes,
know, so.
it is.
But I agree, yeah. So, but I think he'll get another chance to play tomorrow, and I've got another spelling error in my slide as well. And lastly, this young man,
Yes.
what's your thoughts on the way David Moyes manages Saeed Benrahma? I think Benrahma will start tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I
But
do
what are
too.
your thoughts on the way he actually manages this player?
It's really difficult. I think Benrahma is a really talented player. I think he can do almost everything on the offensive part of the pitch. But it's I understand it's difficult when you have hard opponents, where you have to work hard defensively. When we play the very good teams in the Premier League, Manchester City, who we already played, Chelsea. When we play the big teams, of course, Benrahma is not a defensive, hard-working player. So
It's not his style, is it?
no, no.
Yeah.
But I still think the guy has so much quality that when we play teams where we have the ball and where we want to create some chances, and where we do see our possibilities in the offensive part of the pitch, I think he should play. I think he's good.
Yeah.
But of course, we have many players now. We have um, 3, 4 players which can play the same positions as Benrahma. So it's the tough competition in the team.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is what I think is going to be the lineup, and I think this is what we've just discussed. So Ariola in goal,
Mm,
Soufal, Kera, Ogbonna, and Emerson at the back, with
mm.
Downs and Declan in the middle, and
Yes,
then, as you've said, Cornet, Lanzini, and Benrahma behind Scamacca. Would
yes.
you agree that in itself is a good team, isn't it? I mean,
That's
that's not.
exactly the same 11 again as against the FCSB.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly the same 11.
Hmm.
Yes, and I
And then
think
on the bench, we have quite a lot of options. I mean, he's going to put a few
yes.
youngsters in there,
Mhm.
like Heggie, the young under 23 keeper, Regan Clayton, who's a promising left back, and also Divine Mbama, who's also a young, promising striker. But
Mhm.
then you look at that bench and you look at Dawson, Zuma, Creswell, Socek,
Yeah,
Paquetá, Fornals, Antonio.
yeah.
Not bad. Not a. I mean,
No,
finally, we've got a very good bench, haven't
really
we?
good. Really good. But I hope, and I also think that Silkeborg shouldn't get us that many troubles as FCSB did. I don't think so. I don't see that, because Silkeborg is not on their best level at this point, I think. And I think,
Mhm.
like Viborg, we are just a better team. So I hope for an early 2-0, maybe 3-0 lead after 60 minutes, and then we can put in some of the youngsters, and we can take out some of the players who need a little rest. And so it's going to be a sweet second half for us.
Well, that's a good prediction, and
Yeah.
I'm going to take your word for it, because you're much better knowledge than I am. So I'm going to go. I'm going to say we're going to keep a clean sheet, and I'm going to
Yeah,
go for a three
me
nil
too.
as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2-0, 3-0, 2-0 or 3-0. Like I see a game almost like the two Viborg games.
Hmm.
Yes.
So, final question to you: did you manage to arrange anything? Are you going? Are you going to be in the
Yes,
away end,
of
or?
course, yes, yes. So I'm bringing my son tomorrow. So we're looking forward to the game, and I can tell all the West Ham fans that Silkeborg Stadium is really nice, and it's like a little bit like Viborg Stadium, where the excitement was really, really good, and it's going to be really fine tomorrow again.
And are they going to put on like a pre-match thing like Viborg did with the
No, I don't
fan
think.
area?
No, actually we meet all the Danish hammers and also many of the British hammers. We meet on a pub called Målet, in English, the goal, and
Okay.
the owner of the goal is the former Bolton attacker Henrik Tømmer Petersen. Do you remember
Okay.
Henrik
I
Petersen?
don't.
No, he was attacker for Bolton actually for many seasons. Really good player. So it's his pub, and he has welcomed all the Hammer fans tomorrow.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's
Mhm.
fantastic.
Yes.
Well, I'm envious. It hasn't sold out yet. This is it. So I spoke to my partner. She's coming back from abroad today,
Yes.
and she said, "Well, look, if you want to go, go, and
Yes.
then you'll meet me out there." So I'll tell
Yes.
you, I might still get on that flight in the morning.
Really good.
We'll
Really
see.
good. I hope so.
Flemming, it's been an absolute pleasure yet again.
Yes.
Thank you for the
Hope to
insight.
see you.
It really does give this some prominence, and I
Good.
really appreciate it. So if I make it, I'll see you. If not,
Yes.
then thank you so much, and I'm sure we'll speak
You're
again
welcome.
very soon.
You're
Much
welcome. See you.
appreciated. Bye bye. Well, there you are. There's the preview. I hope you enjoyed it. I mean, fantastic insight. It's superb to get the sort of input that I mean, it will take me hours, and I still wouldn't get it right. So I really appreciate what Flemming's offered there. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you all very much. If you're new to the channel, do the usual: hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, etc. And we'll be back with another show. I'm not doing a watch along if I don't go there. But I'll certainly, if I'm not there, I'll certainly do something just before the game. When the team news is announced. So do join me for that. Thank you very much, and I'll see you all soon.